divorced dads going through a separation, going through a custody battle, and you have tons of pressure on you. Your baby mom is making up false claims about you. Your friends are dividing. You're emotionally wrecked. You want her back. You don't want her back. You're pissed off. Listen to this video because I'm going to tell you in just a few minutes exactly what you have to do right now. And man, if you don't do it and if you don't do this right, the consequences are high. They involve your kids. They involve your money, your property. They involve your well-being, your future. I'm just going to tell you, you want to come out on the right end of this, and we do this all the time. So listen up. What's happening, guys? I'm Steve Maeda. I'm a men's coach from Austin, Texas. And number one in all of this thing, I just want to tell you guys, I've done a custody case where I got everything ruined and wrecked about my life. I didn't see my kids for 5 years. I went through this horrible criminal justice court process. And then in a second round, in another custody case, I got everything I wanted, meaning I got all the power, I got options for full custody, I got a lot of stuff that you probably want right now. Anything that you could imagine, anything that you would wish for. So coming from losing everything and getting everything, I know a lot and I know how to do things right. That being said, I don't know your case. I am not a lawyer. You need to get a lawyer. You need to get a good lawyer. But more importantly, right now, what you should do are two things. You should download my free guide for divorced dads dealing with child custody, all that sort of stuff. It's free. And also you go to the Austin Men's Development Facebook group, which is also free, and get your support. Okay, let's get into this because for me, what made things go wrong had a mix of my emotional pain from the experience with the legal problems around the experience. So what I needed to realize right away was in a divorce, that's separate from a custody case. And they're married, for lack of a better term, together, but they are two separate events. Divorce is gonna have to do with things like your property. It might have to do with things like infidelity and lying and so on. Child custody has to do with what's gonna be right for the kids. Now, in these child custody cases, they're so dramatic, and rightfully so. I mean, your kids mean a lot to you. Your wife may have done some really bad things, your ex-wife or whatever. You're charged, you're pissed off. But what matters in that whole situation is that you do the right things legally. And if you don't, it's easy to get caught up in the gossip, the anger, the drama, all this stuff, which is very important, what you need to decompress about in your men's groups at Austin Men's Development or whatever you do for an outlet. But in the courtroom, that may not matter. This is why you need to talk to a lawyer or get familiar with what the laws are in your state and in your county. Now, I 100% get it. You probably spent 5 days a week with your kids, 7 days a week with your kids, seeing them every day, very involved in their lives, and now you're looking at a weekend option or something like that. These are things which are realities that you're gonna have to face. Now, if you get full custody or 50-50 or whatever you wanna call it, those will be different things, but you're not going to see them every day in the same way that you saw them. You might still get to see them every day, but it's not going to be the same in what you were used to seeing them when you were with your ex. Now, there's all sorts of help for this. So if you're a weekend dad, there's all sorts of support groups, support systems, different programs that we have at Austin Men's Development that can help you out with that. But that's an emotional blow and it's hard, but there's a great outcome to it that will come if you do the right things. If you're a 50-50 dad, if you're somebody that does get full custody and you're raising your child on your own, there's support systems that we have also at Austin Men's Development for that. And so that's really important because you want to do the right thing for your situation. The emotional blows towards this are huge. And I'm just telling you, if you do the right things, you're going to get to be a great father to your child, children, however many kids you got. So you want to maximize that to your best possible ability. You want to have the best relationship possible with your kids. You have to get that emotional support. You have to get that down. You've got to get past the drama. I know it's a big deal, all those sorts of things, but you have to get there with it. Now, on the legal front, this is interesting. So what determines custody, and again, I'm not a lawyer. You got to get a good lawyer. You got to talk to a lawyer. You got to consult, look at the laws. You got to be able to fact check your lawyer. You got to be able to do a lot of stuff. This is again why you want to be a part of a powerful men's group like Austin Men's Development. In your legal case, you're going to have things which are determined in custody. This is child involvement. This is what's going to be best for that child in terms of medical, in terms of school, in terms of how they get their clothes, in terms of their emotional well-being. Now, if your wife had a bunch of affairs or she lied to you about a bunch of stuff, those are flaws in character and they might matter down the road in child custody, but they do not matter directly. So we got to stop that dialogue. When you're gossiping with your friends, when you're talking to your female friends, where you're going, man, she's an unfit mother because she slept around, or she's an unfit mother because she did X, Y, and Z. What actually matters in that case is she an unfit mother and taking the kids to school, preparing them food, getting them clothes, taking them to the doctor, and so on. And what's important for you to understand is if you're a fit father, you need to be involved in those things. And sadly, most dads are working, so they're not taking their kid to the doctor, or they're not taking their kids to school and so on and all these different things. So we're kind of out of this loop, and it seems really unfair, and it might be really unfair. But right now, you have to stick with the dialogue of the courts instead of complaining and getting angry about how it's unfair and you're victimized as a male and so on. So this is important. All of this talk of what CPS might say, what the courts might say, what the gossip might say, what the Reddit forums might say, what we say on this dialogue, what we're saying at Austin Men's Development, all that gossip, all that trash talking isn't going to be around in 2, 5, 6 years when your kids need you most. So you need to build the man of what your kids are going to need most, because you're going to be around and they're going to be in your lives. Like 100% can confirm that, just so long as you do the right things and don't mess things up. So on that whole legal field, you need to know if you have a good court case. And I'm going to make a bunch of videos that deal with all the details of what has mattered in my court cases. But you need to understand that the courts are very, very different, and they're speaking a different language than your emotional pain, what you may think is fair, what you're angry about. They're not there to resolve your issues about how your ex did wrong things. They're there to resolve who is going to be the best primary parent for your kids. Now, if that's you, you have to understand that you need a case for that. You need to be able to show that. And if that's not you, that doesn't mean you're a bad dad. It doesn't mean you're a bad person in any way. What you got to realize is that then you got to look at, like, how can I make this weekend dad thing work? Again, this is why a support system's so good. Just download that freaking PDF. Download it now. But also go to Austin Men's Development and get into our different groups. Like, get into Men's Development Excellence at the very minimum, so that you can be around different fathers who are weekend dads and do it right and maximize it to their ability. Man, it's not a bad option. And again, if you're a 50-50 dad or a full custody dad, same thing. Get around other men who've been there and done that. But we got to take out all of that emotional BS that's clouding it. And let me just rephrase that. It's not emotional BS. It's very important, but you need to put it in a men's group and not in the courtroom, or not to your ex, or not arguing, and not in a point of confusion. So now here's the next thing. If there is something like abuse, if there is something like drug use or hitting the kids or verbally abusing them, you need to take the right actions towards that. You cannot sit there and gossip about it and think that that's going to do anything for you. You need to be going to the police, the courts, talking to your lawyer about how to resolve that best. Now, if there's abuse coming your way, which happens all the time, it's super common. I mean, when we get in our groups, it's kind of haunting to know just how females consistently deal with this, of, you know, making up lies and trash talking and going all the way into, you know, trash talking you to your own kids, as well as making up false abuse claims, sex abuse claims, so on, just to get their way. It's a terrible thing. It's so screwed up and so common. And the solution to that is a long, long road, and I plan on making a lot of content around that. But the solution is not you getting just angry about it and gossiping. It's actually going to an attorney and taking care of it and stopping it in the courts. Now, I did that myself, and I did it in a great way, and I stopped it, and it actually played into my court case, to which gave me huge advantages. But if you do gossip about it and you do get angry about it, it's only going to mess you up. In fact, leave a comment down below, or email me, message me, if you want to hear more about my process and how I did stop the false child abuse claims that my ex was making against me. So look, guys, this is so much to be talked about in this, and I know this is a huge topic, especially on my channel and what's going on. Get on to Austin Men's Development, download the PDF. That's really going to help you out, and let's build a dialogue where we can help you. The guys on the calls, like on our paid tiers, like Men's Development Excellence, I know you might not want to jump into that right away. Man, we become great fathers in all situations, whether we've fought and gotten the full custody, and we'll show you how to do that if you can do that, or you're a 50-50 parent and they fought for that and got that when, you know, the options were low. You know, they're getting child abuse claims put on them. In fact, what happened to me was I was getting those claims put on me, and I took it to the courts, handled it in the right way, and got the right solution for my kids, man. And that's in that PDF. You got to check it out. Or you're a weekend dad, which it's like, man, it can hurt really bad, and I've lived that life, and I've learned to not be so upset about it, because eventually I did the right things and got to see my kids almost every day of the week, and they look up to me and they see me as a different parent and so on. I want the best reality for you as a dad, because I know you can do that, but you got to start somewhere, and that's the free Austin Men's Development group. If you want to step it up, there's Men's Development Excellence, but sniff around in our groups a little bit and and see if you like it, and get that PDF. Download that, man, because it's going to change a lot of things for you. Now, if you do like this, you can check out my other videos or playlists on custody and being a father and so on. And at the minimum, if you did like it, hit the like button and hit the subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Leave a comment, I'll get back to you. Anyway, guys, I'm getting out of here. The sun is beautiful here in Austin, Texas. We'll talk to you guys soon. And man, if there ain't sunny days for you right now, we'll get you there. All right.